my favorite lines is, if you're tired of hearing about racism, well, imagine being tired of experiencing it.
Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin.
Racism occurs at different levels. It's not just always, outright racism or racial slurs being hurled at you, but you don't know the blockades that are really set up, but they exist.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
What's happening today, it's interesting because it's been happening probably for the last few hundred years. It's not really new.
And unfortunately, I don't believe that the solution will happen quickly, at least not in my lifetime or even my children's lifetime.
My name is Randy McKinney, and I'm retired from the Department of Social Services, state of Connecticut, after working there 34 years.
My name is Leonard Lockhart, and I am a District Service Manager for Johnson Controls.
My name is Kirkpatrick A. Burke. I'm an electrical engineer. Work here at Raytheon Technologies, or Collins Aerospace, the former Hamilton Standard years ago.
I was born in Virginia, so I grew up with the differences in the race and the way people are treated and the way people act. So for me, it's something that I've always been aware of. And I think that in the last, shall I say, 4 years, I think an atmosphere has been created where it's not so subtle anymore. With the current, political situation, it's gotten worse, and I think people have felt more threatened because it's so blatant. And I think what it's also exposed is that the people who you pay your taxes to protect your neighborhood and to make the right decisions because they're supposed to be in charge, it's come out that maybe that there's a larger percentage of those who aren't doing that job, who aren't protecting those people who might be minority who also pay their taxes.
One of my first encounters, we were just blatant, was my buddy Gary was driving. It was probably four of us. My buddy Gary, my brother, I have an older brother, he's about a year and a half older than myself. And I kid you not, we were probably going, we were driving so slow because we didn't want to go home, right? It's like, oh, we get to stay out late. so we were just inching along 20 miles an hour. We turned a corner. And as soon as we turned the corner, like these sirens started going off. And, the guy, he came around the corner like it was, a cops and robbers movie. It was just so extra. It was just so dramatic. I'm like, okay. And so then, the guy comes out of the cop. It was a white police officer. And so then he says, "What are you trying to do? Give me a chase?" And I'm like, and I just thought, oh, we're in trouble. And I was literally praying that this guy doesn't beat us senseless or something. And then thank God there was an accident or something, because I heard it on his intercom, and he had to leave. It was one of those incidents. It could have been worse, and you never want your child to encounter something like that.
It's good defense, man. Good defense. Can you defend this? Can you defend this? Nope.
I'm not tickling. No.
I think you are. I think you are ticklish.
I have more fear, like I said, for my teenager who's going to become 16. So when he's going out there in a vehicle and I know that, he's black, I'm going to have that conversation a lot more often and have to tell him, this is how you behave, keep your hands on the wheel, give him a whole laundry list of what to do and pray that's good enough.
3, 2, 1, go. I know you're not going to full strength. Come on, Dad. Don't do me dirty.
I've been stopped more than I cared for, but there's been times where I've been pulled over and had no clue of why, and well, you look suspicious. That's been happening. I've been cuffed, sat on the curb. No, you're not allowed to search my vehicle. Vehicle searched anyway. I mean, that it happens. It is what it is. It's not right, but that's the life that unfortunately I'm conditioned to. I'm going to experience this the rest of my life. but not by the good cops. There's a lot of great cops out here that do their job and want to do their job the right way, but then you do have some, unfortunately, all professions that are rogue. And I would believe that there might be a few rogue ones in police departments across the country.
Don't do that. It's no fun.
Yeah, it is.
I've been stopped, and one of the things that you can't check if you get stopped and the policeman tells you that your brake light is out. That's one of the few things that you can't check. Right? So there's no way for you to check and see if they were being honest with you, because you can't check that while you're in if the license was missing or something like that. But a brake you can't check, so you get home and you see there's nothing wrong with my brakes. I'm not going to say it happens a lot. In the time I've lived here, maybe 4 or 5 times where you're never quite sure really why they stopped you. But yes, officer, fine, going home. That kind of stuff.
This kitchen table you're sitting at, what happens? This table's like Vegas. What's said here happens here, stays here. And we've talked about a wide variety of things that impact their life, and race has been one of them. I tell my kids, don't put yourself in a situation where you have to be engaged with the police. However, if you are engaged with the police, make sure you know your rights, make sure you know your constitutional rights. Make sure you know that if you want some type of backup, if you want to record it, do whatever you need to do to safely get home. If it happens to go left, it is what it is. It's unfortunate, but the key is that we want you to come home safely. If they're driving my vehicle, they can let them know, look, this is my dad's vehicle, my wallet's right there, my daughter, my purse is over there, don't make any sudden moves.
I tell him to keep his window down, and keep his hands on the steering wheel.
I'm not a fan of rolling down the windows, because then that gives the officer an opportunity if he wants to open your door. I'm personally not a fan of that, but if it provides a little bit more comfort for the situation, I'll leave that to my kids to determine.
If at all possible, have your lights on. Turn on your dome lights.
It's okay to let that other person go ahead of you, even though you should be the next one to go. Don't worry about it. Stop, slow down and stop at a yellow.
Just anything that, can be misconstrued as something being done improperly in the car, try to mitigate that as much as possible.
I don't know another black family that I know that hasn't had that conversation. It's like it's a part of as a part of who you are.
When I grew up in the 70s, it wasn't too far removed from the riots of the 60s. So my parents and my uncles and stuff, that was still fresh in their memory, and there was still a lot of tension going around from those riots. So when I interacted with Caucasians back then, it was definitely told to me that I wouldn't make that I wouldn't live to see 21. I would either be dead or in prison or strung out on whatever, crime, drugs, whatever. So when you hear this from teachers, when you hear this from officers on the beat, when you constantly hear it, it becomes a part of your psyche, and you have to be mentally strong to battle through that. And it was tough.
Several hundred protesters coming to call for change. As you can see behind me, they're now making that call here at the Hartford Police Station, so I'll step out of my way so you can see what happened. This is now the 4th straight day that we've seen protests here in Hartford and elsewhere around Connecticut.
My job as a dad is to really filter what he's seeing, because if you just let everything come through the TV screen, sure, you're gonna be a scared child cowering in the corner, and that's not what I want for my children. I want them to be proud, strong black men.
What would be great is an opportunity, instead of dictating what happens at their table and what happens at my table, is that we come together as a collective group, as a think tank, and really, really say, hey, let's go through a level of different exercises. Give me, give me a quiz on about white perceptions. I'll give you a quiz about black perceptions. And then let's put it on the table of what were our true perceptions, and let's talk through it.
Try to reach out, try to extend yourself a little bit. I mean, whatever that may entail. You definitely can't stay in your house. You have to get out. Just make yourself available to learning and mingling with people who are not just like yourself.
With all the protests that's going on, one of the things that changed that might allow change to happen is there was a mixed group protesting, right? Because there's not enough black people in the country. There's not enough black people in the country that could have voted Obama in if all of them voted for him, right? There's not enough. So there have to be white people and Hispanic people who are doing it also. So if you want something to change, then the majority group has to be willing to change also, right? They need to be able to step up and say something and do something.
I believe this generation is a lot more tolerant. There's a lot of equality talk. You definitely have a lot of different groups that are fighting for their rights, to be at the table, to be heard, to be represented. So the tolerance for ignorance is definitely, I believe, is passing us by. It's a beautiful thing. That progress is slow, but the progress nevertheless is coming. So I'm thinking we're in a very, very good place. This country has come a long way, and we got a long way to go.